The stars glowed against the vastness of space as the Draconian fleet appeared near Earth's orbit. 300 massive warships broke through the darkness, their metal bodies reflecting the distant sun. Commander Tay stood at the command center window, his face showing no fear. "How many ships?" he asked. Officer Baum checked the screens. 300 warships, Commander. Our sensors detect about 50,000 soldiers. Tay nodded slowly. He had prepared for this day, but not expected. It's so soon. The Draconians were the most feared species in the galaxy. They had conquered 27 planets already, and Earth was next on their list. The emergency alarm sounded throughout the base. Military personnel rushed to their positions, faces serious but determined. Earth's united forces had trained for years, knowing this threat might come. In the main control room, General Kang addressed the gathered officers. The Draconian Empire has never failed in conquest, but they have never met humans before. On the largest screen, they watched as the alien ships formed a perfect attack pattern around Earth. The formation was beautiful in its precision and terrifying in its purpose. "Send message to all defense stations," Tay ordered. "Activate shield. Protocol." Across the planet, hidden defenses powered up. Most alien species didn't know that humans had been preparing for this moment for decades. Ever since the first signals from space had been detected, Earth had built its protections in secret. Inside the lead Draconian ship, Supreme Commander Ryu studied the blue planet with cold eyes. His scaled skin reflected the light from the command console as he flicked a clawed finger across the screen. "Such a primitive world," he hissed to his second-in-command. "Their technology is basic. This conquest will be simple." "The reports show they have nuclear capabilities," said Officer Min, checking her data. "And they appear unusually adaptable." Ryu made a dismissive sound. "All species say they are special before we conquer them. Prepare the first message. Demand their surrender." The Draconian transmission reached every communication device on Earth simultaneously. The scaled face of Commander Ryu appeared on screens worldwide, his yellow eyes narrowing as he spoke. "People of Earth, your planet now belongs to the Draconian Empire. Surrender your governments within one planetary rotation or face extinction. Resistance is pointless. We have conquered 27 worlds. You will be the 28th. In the United Earth Defense Headquarters, President G watched the message with the world's leaders. Unlike the panic that struck many, she remained calm. "Send our response," she ordered. "Invite them to diplomatic talks." Meanwhile, she gave a slight nod to General Kang. It was the signal to activate Operation Hidden Shield, Earth's secret defense plan. In orbit, several small Earth satellites quietly changed position. They looked like ordinary communication devices, but contained technologies the Draconians couldn't detect. Commander Tay received new orders on his secure channel. "Begin evacuation of major cities. Move civilians to the underground shelters." He turned to his team. "The Draconians think this will be a simple conquest. We're about to show them how wrong they are." On the Draconian command ship, Ryu received Earth's diplomatic message with surprise. "They wish to talk? How unusual." He turned to his officers. "Prepare a landing party. I will hear their surrender personally." Officer Min looked concerned. "Supreme Commander, our intelligence shows humans are unpredictable. Perhaps we should follow standard invasion protocol instead." Ryu's scales darkened with anger. "Are you questioning my command? The Draconian Empire has never failed. These humans will bow like all others." As the first Draconian ships began their descent toward Earth, they didn't notice the small changes in Earth's orbital satellites. They didn't detect the unusual energy readings coming from several points on the planet. In the command center, Commander Tay watched the approaching ships on his screen. "They think they know what they're facing," he said quietly. "They have no idea what humans are capable of when fighting for survival. The greatest battle in Earth's history was about to begin, and the Draconians were about to learn that conquering humans would be unlike anything they had experienced before." The large Draconian shuttle landed in the middle of Geneva's international zone. Guards with plasma rifles formed a line as Supreme Commander Ryu stepped onto Earth soil for the first time. His scales shimmered under the sunlight as he surveyed the human delegation waiting for him. President Minji stood calmly at the front of the human representatives. Unlike the Draconians, who wore full battle armor, the humans wore simple formal clothes. This confused Ryu. "Where is your military display?" he asked as he approached. "Do you not honor us with a show of the forces we will soon command?" President Minji smiled. "We welcome you to Earth, Commander. We prefer to begin with words, not weapons." Inside the meeting hall, Ryu and his officers sat across from the human delegation. The Draconians had expected to receive Earth's surrender. Instead, the humans offered a treaty of mutual cooperation. "This is not how conquest works," Ryu said, his voice cold. 27 species before you have knelt before us. You will be the 28th. "Perhaps we can find another way," suggested Chief Diplomat Ho. "Earth has many resources we could share." The Draconian officers exchanged confused looks. In their culture, the strong ruled the weak. The concept of cooperation between unequal powers made no sense to them. The meeting grew tense when the humans began asking questions about Draconian culture. Ryu had not expected curiosity. Most species simply begged for mercy. "Enough of this," Ryu finally declared. "You have one day to surrender your world government to us." "We don't have a world government," explained President Minji. "Earth has many nations, each with its own leaders." This information stunned the Draconians. Their reports had not prepared them for a planet with divided leadership. "How do you function? Without unified control?" asked Officer Suk, genuinely confused. "Who makes decisions for your species?" "We debate, we vote, we sometimes argue," said Chief Diplomat Ho. "It's messy but effective." Ryu stood abruptly. "This conversation is pointless. You will see our power and then you will understand." As the Draconians returned to their shuttle, President Minji activated her hidden communicator. "They're leaving. Activate Operation Scattered Shield." Across the planet, military commanders received the message and began implementing the unique human defense strategy. Back on his command ship, Ryu ordered a demonstration strike. "Target the northern polar region. No human settlements, just ice. Show them our power without destroying their resources." Officer Suk prepared the weapon systems. "Supreme Commander, our sensors detect unusual energy patterns from multiple locations on the planet." "Irrelevant," Ryu said. "Their technology is primitive. Fire the demonstration strike." The massive Draconian warship positioned itself over the Arctic and fired a plasma beam that melted thousands of square kilometers of ice instantly. Steam clouds rose into the atmosphere as the ocean boiled beneath. "Now they will understand true power," Ryu said. But the human's response was not what he expected. Instead of panicked calls for surrender, strange things began happening to the Draconian fleet. 3 ships in the outer defense ring reported system failures. Communication channels filled with static. Navigation systems showed contradicting coordinates. "What is happening?" Ryu demanded. On Earth, Commander Tay directed the counterattack from a hidden base in the mountains. "Launch Phase 2, he ordered. Thousands of small objects shot into space from locations around the planet. They were not missiles or fighters, but something the Draconians had never encountered before. "Supreme Commander," Officer Suk called, out in alarm. "Unknown devices are attaching to our ship's hulls." Ryu watched in disbelief as the small human devices bypassed their advanced shields and stuck to their ships. The devices were not exploding or causing direct damage. Instead, they were transmitting signals that interfered with Draconian technology. "This is impossible," Ryu hissed. "Their technology is too primitive for this." On the main screen, he watched as one of his destroyers drifted out of formation, its systems failing completely. General Kang spoke to the United Earth military from her command center. "The Draconians expected us to fight like them, with direct force against force, but humans have always been good at finding unexpected solutions." The Draconian fleet attempted to regroup, but their highly centralized command structure was breaking down under the strange human attack. Their ships relied on perfect coordination, but now each captain was forced to make decisions independently. In his command ship, Ryu received reports of problems throughout the fleet. 20 ships had lost power. 30 more reported navigation failures. Troops waiting to deploy were experiencing strange symptoms: confusion, headaches, disturbed vision. "What kind of weapons are these?" he demanded. Officer Sook looked up from her console, her scales pale with worry. "They're not weapons as we understand them, Supreme Commander. The humans are attacking our systems rather than our ships." Ryu stared at the blue planet below. This was not how conquest was supposed to work. This was not what had happened on 27 other worlds. "Send a message to the homeworld," he ordered. "The humans have unusual defenses. We need different strategies." For the first time in Draconian history, a conquest wasn't going according to plan. Retry SF 20 days into the invasion, something impossible was happening. Draconian ships were vanishing without explanation. Supreme Commander Ryu stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the tactical display. Where once 300 warships had surrounded Earth, now barely 200 remained. His scales had lost their healthy shine, turning dull with stress. "Battlecruiser dominance has gone dark, Supreme Commander," reported Officer Sook, her voice trembling slightly. "No distress signal, no debris field. It's just gone." Ryu slammed his clawed fist on the console. "Impossible. Nothing on this primitive planet has the capability to destroy our flagship-class vessels without a trace." But the disappearances continued. Every few hours, another ship would lose contact with the fleet. The pattern made no sense. Some ships vanished while in formation with others. Some disappeared during routine operations. Some simply winked out of existence during crew rest periods. On Earth, in the underground command center, Commander Tay reviewed the reports with General Kang and Dr. Jin. "Is it working?" asked Tay, looking at the data streams. Dr. Jin nodded, her eyes reflecting the blue light of the screens. "Better than we expected. The combination of our electromagnetic pulse generators, targeted frequency jammers, and the bioactive compound we released into the upper atmosphere is creating the perfect storm for their technology." "And they can't figure out what's happening?" General Kang asked. "They don't even know where to look," Dr. Jin replied. "Their ships are designed to defend against direct attacks, missiles, energy weapons, boarding parties. They're not designed to handle environmental disruptions that target their specific technology." Back on the Draconian command ship, Officer Sook presented her analysis to Ryu. "Supreme Commander, our ground forces are reporting serious problems. Entire battalions have lost contact with their command units. Some troops are experiencing hallucinations and confusion." Ryu paced the command deck. His empire had conquered 27 worlds using the same tactics: overwhelming force, superior technology, and absolute discipline. None of those advantages seemed to be working against the humans. "What do we know about these disappearances?" he demanded. "Very little, Supreme Commander," admitted Officer Sook. "Before they vanish, ships report strange energy fluctuations. Navigation systems show impossible readings. Communication becomes garbled. Then, nothing." In his private quarters, Ryu reviewed the fleet status. 150 ships remained operational. Many of those were reporting system failures or crew illness. The magnificent invasion force that had arrived at Earth was falling apart without the humans launching a single traditional attack. Officer Min entered after announcing herself. "Supreme Commander, we've intercepted human communications. They're not celebrating victories or discussing attacks on our fleet. They simply refer to something they call the vanishing and seem to be monitoring it. They must be doing something." Ryu slammed his tail against the floor. "Ships don't just disappear." "Our science team has a theory," Officer Min said cautiously. "Earth has an unusually complex electromagnetic field. Their atmosphere contains elements we don't commonly encounter. Their technology operates on different principles than ours. It's possible that the combination of these factors is creating a hostile environment for our systems." Ryu stared at her. "Are you suggesting that this planet itself is fighting us?" "Not exactly, Supreme Commander. Rather, the humans have found a way to use their environment against us. They're not destroying our ships, they're making it impossible for our ships to exist here. On the other side of the planet, Captain Doe led a Draconian ground force through an abandoned human city. Their mission was to capture key infrastructure, but something was wrong. Soldiers were reporting headaches, confusion, and seeing things that weren't there. "Keep formation," Doe ordered as another soldier stumbled, complaining of dizziness. Their communication devices crackled with static. The mapping system showed them in 3 different locations simultaneously. Captain Doe felt his own thoughts becoming foggy. "Something in the air," mumbled his lieutenant before collapsing. Captain Doe tried to call for extraction, but his communicator showed only static. Looking up, he saw the sky shimmer strangely, and for a moment he thought he could see through it, as if reality itself was becoming thin. In orbit, ship number 167 vanished from the fleet. No explosion, no debris. There one moment, gone the next. The Galactic Council observers watching from a safe distance recorded everything with growing amazement. Senior analyst Hayuk had never seen anything like it in 300 years of monitoring conflicts. "The humans aren't fighting the Draconians," she noted in her report. "They've simply made their world incompatible with Draconian existence." By day 30, half the Draconian fleet had vanished. The remaining ships were in disarray, many drifting with non-functional systems or crews too sick to operate them. Supreme Commander Ryu made the most difficult decision of his life. "Prepare the remaining functional ships for immediate withdrawal," he ordered. But as the damaged fleet attempted to leave Earth's orbit, more ships began to shimmer and vanish. Ryu watched in horror as reality itself seemed to bend around his flagship. The stars stretched into lines. The hull groaned with impossible stresses. "What is happening to us?" he whispered as the blackness of space began to distort. And then, ship number 173 disappeared as well. Dr. Yoon worked tirelessly in her laboratory beneath Seoul, surrounded by screens showing data streams and biological samples. She finally understood what was happening to the Draconian fleet. "It's not one thing," she explained to the military leaders gathered around her table. "It's everything working together." General Kang leaned forward. "Explain it simply, Doctor." Dr. Yoon pointed to a screen showing microscopic organisms. "Earth's bacteria and viruses, things we've evolved with for millions of years, are completely foreign to Draconian biology. Their immune systems have no defense against them." She switched to another screen showing wave patterns. "Our planet's magnetic field is uniquely strong and complex. The Draconians' navigation systems were designed for space, not for operating inside such a powerful electromagnetic environment." "And their technology?" asked Commander Tay. "Their ships use quantum positioning systems that require absolute precision," Dr. Yoon said. "Earth's natural radiation combined with the electromagnetic pulses we've been generating creates what they experience as reality distortions. Their ships aren't being destroyed, they're being shifted slightly out of phase with our reality." The room fell silent as the implications became clear. "So Earth itself is our best weapon," General Kang said finally. Dr. Yoon nodded. "We evolved here. We adapted to these conditions. The Draconians expected to fight an enemy like themselves, but instead they're fighting an entire planetary ecosystem that their bodies and technology simply cannot process." At a military outpost near the coast, Captain Wu was surprised when his team captured a Draconian soldier seeking asylum. The alien was clearly ill, its scales dull and flaking. "Why did you surrender?" Captain Wu asked through a translator. The Draconian, who identified himself as Soldier Jun, trembled as he spoke. "Your world. It makes no sense. Our sensors show impossible readings. Our bodies feel wrong here. And your people?" He shook his head in disbelief. "You don't follow any patterns we understand." "What do you mean?" Captain Wu asked. "Your military units operate independently but somehow coordinate perfectly. Your civilians don't panic when we expect them to. Your electronic communications continue even when we block your main channels." Jun's eyes showed genuine fear. "It's as if your entire species evolved for chaos while we evolved for order. And in chaos you thrive where we fall apart." Similar reports came in from around the world as more Draconian soldiers abandoned their posts, their minds and bodies unable to cope with Earth's environment. In a secured meeting room in Washington, intelligence officers played recordings of intercepted Draconian communications. As the invasion progressed, the once precise and formal Draconian language had broken down into confused and fragmented messages. "They're experiencing cognitive dissonance on a massive scale," explained Chief Analyst Young. "Their hierarchical command structure depends on clear information flowing upward and orders flowing downward. On Earth, that system is breaking down because they can't process what they're experiencing." President Minji convened the world leaders to discuss the situation. "The Draconians are retreating, but not by choice. Their remaining ships are trying to leave our solar system, but many are failing." "Should we help them leave?" asked the European Council representative. "If we do nothing, most of their fleet will eventually phase out of our reality completely," explained Dr. Yoon via video link. "They won't be destroyed, just shifted into a state where they can no longer interact with or harm us. The decision was made to let nature take its course." On his nearly empty flagship, Supreme Commander Ryu struggled to maintain consciousness. The ship's systems were failing around him, reality itself seeming to waver. "Send this message to the homeworld," he ordered the communication officer, one of the few still functional crew members. "Earth is not to be approached. Something about this planet is fundamentally incompatible with our existence. It's not the humans defeating us. It's their world rejecting us." As he finished speaking, the view screen showed 3 more ships shimmer and disappear from formation. Officer Min, now his last remaining advisor, looked at him with dull eyes. "Supreme Commander, I believe I understand now. The humans don't conquer other worlds because they can't. They evolved in an environment so chaotic and extreme that their biology and technology are tied to it. They're prisoners of their own world, but that same world is their perfect fortress." Ryu nodded slowly, his mind struggling against the fog filling it. "The perfect defense, they didn't build it. They are it." The flagship's lights flickered as reality seemed to bend around them. Through the viewport, Ryu watched as Earth grew smaller, not because they were successfully retreating, but because his ship was fading from this plane of existence. "The universe must be warned," he said as the darkness closed in. "Earth isn't a planet, it's a weapon, and the humans, they are its perfect extensions." The last Draconian ship shimmered like a mirage in the desert and then, like all the others, simply vanished. On Earth, monitoring stations recorded the final disappearance. The invasion was over, not through traditional warfare, but through what scientists were now calling the human factor, the unique convergence of Earth's environment and humanity's adaptation to it that had proved the perfect defense against alien invasion. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so silent. Representatives from 300 species sat in stunned disbelief as Senior Analyst Hayek presented her findings on the Draconian defeat. "The entire fleet," she confirmed, "all 300 warships and 50,000 soldiers, has vanished from detectable reality. Not destroyed, simply gone." The council leader, a tall being with crystalline features, leaned forward. "How is this possible? The Draconian Empire has conquered 27 worlds. No species has ever defeated them." Representative Doyen, who had long argued for peaceful contact with Earth, stood to address the council. "Earth did not defeat the Draconians. Earth's existence did." On the main screen, data streams showed the analysis of what had happened. The complex interaction of Earth's strong magnetic field, its diverse microbiome, and its atmospheric composition had created conditions that Draconian biology and technology simply couldn't process. "We have always classified planets by their habitability," Doyen continued, "but we never considered that some worlds might be actively hostile to non-native life forms. Earth is such a world. In Earth orbit, research vessels from 12 different species hovered at a safe distance. They had arrived after requesting permission from Earth's governments, taking extraordinary precautions based on what happened to the Draconians. Dr. Minje, Earth's leading xenobiologist, spoke to the alien scientists via video link. We evolved on a planet that requires extreme adaptability. What you experience as chaotic and hostile, we experience as normal. The alien researchers were fascinated and terrified in equal measure. One asked, "If your world is so naturally defensive, why have humans never expanded to other planets?" Dr. Minjay smiled. "We're working on it. But adaptation goes both ways. We're so perfectly suited to Earth that we struggle to survive elsewhere. Our perfect fortress is also our prison." Across the galaxy, the news spread rapidly. The undefeated Draconian Empire had met its match not in superior weapons or tactics, but in the fundamental nature of a single world and the species that evolved there. On planets under Draconian control, the news triggered uprisings. Without the fear of the fleet's return, the conquered peoples saw their chance for freedom. In the Draconian homeland, panic spread through the ruling classes. Their invincible armada was gone. Their supreme commander had vanished. His last message, a warning to never approach Earth, played on repeat in government chambers. Admiral Na, newly appointed as Earth's representative to the Galactic Council, arrived for her first session to find the chamber buzzing with nervous energy. Species that had previously ignored humanity now competed for her attention. "We wish to establish trade relations with Earth," said the representative from the Merchant Collective. "My government offers a defense alliance," said another from the Planetary Federation. "We would like to exchange cultural information," offered the representative of the Ancient Archives. Admiral Na took her seat calmly. "Earth is open to peaceful relations with all species. But understand this, we come as equals, not as conquerors or the conquered." The council leader called the session to order. "The events at Earth have changed galactic politics forever. We face a new reality, a species whose world provides them with perfect defense." A representative from a warrior culture stood in protest. "This creates an imbalance of power. If they cannot be conquered, what prevents them from conquering us once they develop better space travel?" Admiral Na addressed the concern directly. "For the same reason we didn't conquer each other to extinction on our own world. We learned that cooperation benefits everyone. We don't seek an empire, we seek understanding." Scientists across the galaxy now studied what they called the Earth effect. Theories abounded about the exact mechanism that had phased the Draconian fleet out of normal space-time. Some believed the ships had been shifted to a parallel dimension. Others thought they had been quantumly dispersed. In a research station near Jupiter, Dr. Yoon continued her work, joined by scientists from 7 alien species who had volunteered to study the phenomenon despite the risks. "We don't fully understand it ourselves," she admitted to her colleagues. "Earth's combination of factors appears unique in the galaxy. It's not just one thing. It's the perfect storm of biological, electromagnetic, and quantum conditions." An alien researcher, carefully, sealed in a protective suit, looked out the viewport toward the distant blue planet. "Perhaps this is why intelligent life is so rare in our galaxy. Perhaps it requires a world with just the right level of hostility to drive evolution without preventing it." At Galactic Council headquarters, a new term entered the diplomatic lexicon: human factor. It came to mean any unpredictable variable that completely changed the expected outcome of a situation. The remains of the once mighty Draconian Empire fractured as liberated worlds declared independence. Without their fleet, the Empire couldn't maintain control, and on Earth life continued much as it always had. The average person went about their day, perhaps looking up at the stars with a new awareness, but otherwise unchanged. Earth's greatest defense had turned out to be its ordinary existence, a perfect evolutionary cradle for humanity that was simultaneously the perfect weapon against those who would threaten it. "The universe," Admiral Na told the Council in her closing remarks, "has always been more complex than we imagined. Perhaps now we can begin to truly understand each other, not through conquest, but through acceptance of our differences." The Draconian fleet remained a mystery, gone but not destroyed. And the message was clear to all spacefaring civilizations. Earth was not to be invaded. Not because of its weapons or warriors, but because of what it fundamentally was: a world, that defied standard explanations and protected its own.